Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to do the walkthrough of our planner. I'm going to show you how I figured out how to include that zipper pouch and some embellishments, some tabs, and some cool paper clips. I hope you'll stay tuned.
I wanted to create one last folder, and this is the same pockets as the other ones. It is an 11-inch wide by 12-inch tall pocket, just like the other ones as far as height. I just didn't want a tab on it. I didn't think it needed a tab. And then I scored it at 3 inches and folded them up as I did all my other ones. Now, I want to go over a couple things if you didn't have certain tools. Like, let's say you didn't have that envelope punch board, or mine's called a 1-2-3 board. If you didn't have that from We Are Memory Keepers, you could just cut a little notch out of these. Same with the tabs. All you'd have to do is you just cut out a little notch out of these sides to make those. So you wouldn't really need to have the tools I used. And if worse came to worse and you really didn't want to do all this work, you could just put all this into a 3-ring binder. You wouldn't have to make pockets and folders, and just use the papers, the printables that I'm going to give you. I'm going to make sure that at the bottom in the more information segment, there's a space where you can click on and print out all of the different pages I use. Of course, you do need to go to shiningmom.com and print out the calendar. And you can buy all kinds of her printables. I have no affiliation with her. I just liked her calendar. So, in case you wondered. And so let's go to this pocket. The reason I wanted this pocket is I wanted something for my zipper pouch to go in, and the only thing I could come up with was by putting it into its own pouch. I guess I could have probably just sewn it to these, but I figured I would have more paper space in here plus my pouch. Now my pouch was way too big for this space, so I used this. If you've never seen one of these, you buy them at As Seen on TV or any online stores that sell things like this, eBay. This is basically a plastic bag sealer. And so what I did was I went as close as I could to the zipper and made a line. I made as close a mark on this side to the zipper as I could and made a line that would seal the bag. Then I sealed the top and cut off more. And then I sealed the bottom in a couple of places. This spot that's folded, and then a little bit lower. And the reason for that was so that I would be able to basically sew it into this. Now, if you don't have one of these smart sealers and you have one of those hot knives that will cut through plastic, that will also seal plastic. And the best solution would be to find a smaller one of these, but I didn't have a smaller one, so I had to come up with my own idea. Now, this was called a smart sealer, by the way. The way I envisioned this working is I'm going to put it in the center and put these pages on top of it. They're going to be the things that kind of stabilize it in my book, my folder, sorry. And then I'm centering it up. I thought it would make sense for me to show you one more time how to sew things in place too. I'm going to put that down closer. I thought the best way to do this is to kind of center all of my papers and my my zipper pouch, and then I'm going to put one pink clip there, one pink clip really close to the center on that side, making sure I've got it right on the center. Yep. Then another pink clip on the other side of the center. My goal here is just make sure that I get that plastic as close as I possibly can to the center, and then one more pouch clip right there. Now this pouch is going to stick out the top and the bottom of my journal, but because it's clear, I'm not worried about it. I'm just not. We're going with that idea. Then we're going to take that template that I made before, putting it on one side of my line. Then I'm going to push it down as hard as I can when I do this part. I'm going to line that up. You might not be able to see where my little holes are, or not where my holes are, where my centering piece is. I'm going to push as hard as I can because I have to go through all that plastic. If I have to go through it another time, I will. After I made the book, I thought maybe I didn't give you enough instruction on this, or enough clear instruction on this part. So I figured if I went over it again showing you this, it should be clearer this time. I mean, I should explain it better. Okay, now I'm gonna stick my pokey tool through it a little bit more. Because we're going through that plastic, I just want to make sure that we can in fact go through the plastic without jabbing my finger. As I explained before, I used embroidery floss. I'm going to go through this slowly so that you can follow it. There are 5 holes, and I'm going to refer to them as number 1 is the top hole, number 2 is the second one down, 3 is the center, 4 is one from the bottom, and 5 is the very bottom. So you're going to stick your needle from the back into number 3 all the way through everything. Leave yourself about 2 inches of tie space on the back. Now you're going to go down through number 4, which is one up from the bottom. That was easier than going up through the one before, that's for sure. And the reason I left a little bit extra is sometimes I pull too hard and end up pulling through and pulling my string all the way through. We're coming up through the 5th one. Then, making sure I'm tight. Then we're going to go back up. No, excuse me. We came up through the 5th one. We're going to go down through the 4th one. Pull it tight. Okay. Then you're going to go up to the 2nd one and go in through that one. Coming in through any of these with that plastic is tricky, so I'm going to have to do it on my lap. We came up through the 2nd one. Then we're going to go down through the 1st one. Going down through is way easier than coming back up through, let me tell you. I'm hoping it's easier to come. Now we're going to come up through the 2nd one. I thought it'd be easier because now they're all tied in. Okay. Now we're going to go down through the 3rd one. When you do this, you want to make sure that one of your strings is on one side of this white string and the other string is on the other side of it, because that's how you're going to ensure that none of these come loose. I'm tying knots now. I like to tie 3 knots just because I do. Don't know why. Hold on. And when you use embroidery floss, it's much easier if you use something that's a single strand, like they call it embroidery thread, and it's I'll show it to you. It comes on a big roll and it looks like this. Unfortunately, I didn't have any white in this, but if you use this, it's much stronger and it's 1 ply. It's not hard to use, whereas I use regular embroidery, well, I guess it would be called cross stitch, maybe thread. This is what it looks like. When I started, I separated mine into 3 strands. It's 6 strands, and I separated mine into 3. Now, all we have to do is cut off our edges. or trim our thread. I always leave a little bit of thread extra. Take our clasps off. And now this has got this spare piece in here. I'm leaving that there because I want to be able to make sure this stays in place. But now my zipper pouch, I know what you're thinking to yourself. That's amazing! You figured out how to do that. Now my zipper pouch is a zipper pouch and it's connected into one of my pockets. In order to make my pins, no, paper clips, I decided I would experiment a little bit with silicone molds. You get these at Amazon or eBay, any place that sells things like that. This one is buttons. This one is a great big cherry blossom, a smaller cherry blossom, and these are just kind of flowers. I thought what I would try is a bunch of different ideas, and one of them was that I would use this liquid metals and drop a little bit in here and see if I can get this to color enough of my hot glue. I'm going to hot glue this bad boy. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by pouring a little bit in. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure my mold is completely full. I don't know if this will work. I'm just giving it a shot. Keep that in mind. We're just trying something new. And then on this one, I'm going to push my little white paper clip in there. And I'm going to use a spatula that's old and beat up that I got at a garage sale specifically for this purpose. I'm sure the person selling it thought, what is she buying that gross spatula for? But I knew it would be perfect for this. I don't know if this glue is even going to dry, but we're going to give it a shot, right? You got to try it once, right? At least that's my motto on things like this. You'll need a lot of glue for this, so don't be shy about getting all your glue sticks out. You're going to need a lot of them. Then I'm going to do one, and I know this will work because I've done this before, and that is you're going to take a little bit of glitter and you're going to put the glitter into, I'm going to put glitter into my button. I'm just going to dump a significant amount more than I wanted. I'm going to get some of that back out of there. So I've got my glitter filling the bottom of it, and I'm going to put a little glitter on the top of my, this is green glitter. Don't know if it'll hold or not, but we're going to give it a shot. I'm patting it in. The glue is still hot, so it should, at least on this side. And back to my pink one. Hopefully you can still see what I'm doing. This glue has been sitting around for a while, so it's super hot, and I'm not crazy about using it when it's this hot. I'm going to put a white one on that one too, just because I want to use my white ones up right away. Using my spatula again. I'm going to shove it down in there, hold it long enough so it hopefully covers it and stays in place. The glitter is really encased in this one. Oh, I'm liking that so much better. Isn't that fun? It looks like a button. I'm happy about that one. I might make another button because I like that one a lot. And then this is our leaf that we made that I tried to put the green coloring on. And I'll show you this in just a second. I'm going to wipe the back again, as I told you I did with the other one that had glitter all over it. The liquid kind of made divots in the leaf. Well, it's not a total fail. You can always make it look a little bit better. I'm going to just trim it so it looks more like a leaf. So what we learned is that the buttons look the best, I think, for this process. This flower isn't horrible, but I did another flower. I guess I didn't. So I think what I'm going to do is make a couple more buttons, and then, oh, there's this one, the plain one that I need to just trim off a little bit of. This one, I think if I added some color to it, it would look better. The one thing, here's another thing I learned from doing this, is that if you use just glue, you're going to end up seeing your paper clip through there. I don't know, can you see that green paper clip in there? Anyway, so let me fool around some more, and we'll come back in the end and we'll go over what I'm going to finally put in the book. So first things first, I wanted to show you the finished project when I made the paper clips, and I wasn't happy with the glitter on them because the glitter kept coming off, and so what I decided was it needed to be coated with something. So I had this Mod Podge Super Gloss that's a one coat gloss finish that's like a really thick finish, and that worked. It really covered it up and made it so that you're not going to have glitter come off on your hands anymore. And I did some more buttons that are like the light green, and I did I did some flowers. Now I haven't decided how much I love these, but I'm going to include them anyway. But what I came up with that I thought was a better idea, and I'm really, really happy with this. I've never seen this anywhere before. I'm taking full credit for it. And that is, I made tabs for on the top. Wait, I'll get to the month of January. Can you see these tabs all along the top? You're probably saying to yourself, of course everybody's seen those. Well, here's how I'm making it. I took some acetate, just your basic clear plastic, and I made it a 6-inch length, and I folded it in half at 3 inches, or just folded it. Then you're going to really need to take your bone folder and go over it so that you have a really flat top to it. Then I made the same words that are on my tabs that I made in the inside. You know, the best of, journaling, to-do, notes. I made one for each one of those, including the word calendar, so that you know where the January calendar is. Then I opened it up. This is kind of hard to do on camera, I'll be honest with you, because you have to be able to get it in there flat, and the rest of them I did on my lap because it was easier that way. So you make it right up to the seam. And then I snipped off the extra of the label. And then I didn't like the length of these. So what I did was, and I could have left that on until I was done with this next step, but I preferred getting the rest off so it didn't stick to my paper trimmer. And what I did was I put it in my paper trimmer upside down so that the fold is at the bottom, because I found the fold to be a little bit tricky to get in here and keep in the right spot. And I made sure it was straight, and I really held it down with the little plastic bar that's on here. Yeah, don't stick your finger in there, because you know you'll end up cutting it off. And we don't want a video where I ruin the planner we just made for 3 videos, right? Okay, so that's the word journal. And I also, when I did this, I looked at the bottom and made sure that the bottom was straight, even though you should probably never see both sides of the bottom unless it's out of the journal, and I don't think most of the time it will be out of the journal. It's completely straight now, and you're going to take your stapler. This is just my regular stapler, although I have to say, if you've never bought one of these ones from Staples, I love these. Of course, I'm not being endorsed, but I love this, and I'll show you why in a second. When you use them, it has like a ratchet effect. And I'm putting this, I'm lining it up with that little mark where a staple goes. And it has this like ratchet feature that you can do a whole bunch of pages without any kind of effort at all. And so, in case you wondered, that's a great stapler if you need a stapler. If you don't, then that's just more information than you needed, right? So I'm going to put this one in. Do I have the word journal on this side? I don't think I do. It'd be right after best of. There it is. And all you do is you take it and you slip it over it, and you just line it up where you want it in the book.
And in the way I did it, I wanted to make sure that I kind of had mine in a row, that you could see, the word journal like that. You can slide best of over a little bit more so that it's out of the way. A little bit. Okay. So then now we can do our walkthrough. I only have 6 months worth in here. Actually, I think I have 5 months worth, and I'll explain why. Because I wanted the zipper pouch in here. I'm giving this away, as you know, so I wanted my zipper pouch to have everything in it that you would need. So there's a little wee pencil, a little mechanical pencil. There's, the pencil was out. I have an orange pen, a purple pen, and a black pen in there. Plus I have 4 washi tapes, and then I thought I would throw all of these paper clips in there too. I'm not going to do that right now because you don't need to see that, right? So then, of course, that's in a pocket of its own, and it has 5 pieces of paper in there that are blank. So there's its pocket, and it's hanging on one of the elastic bands, so it's in secure and for good. So we go to the beginning. The beginning has January in it, and as you know, January is really big because I put 4 of these week plans for the week. I didn't think anybody would use that because of the way it's sewn in here, and I didn't want anybody to have issues with it. Thursday is problematic, and that was the initial problem I had with this whole concept, that I didn't know how anybody else made them to get to sew them and have them have the month so that you could see the whole month. That's why I created a folder with pockets for each month. We have a pocket for each month, and if you wanted to, you wouldn't even have to carry the whole planner with you. We could just lift up, the month of January. If you only want to carry the month of January with you, here it is. It's compact. It's got tabs for everything you need at the top, and I don't think those tabs will come out because they are 3 inches long, and so they're kind of sturdy and waterproof. So that's January, and like I said, you could carry it with you however you wanted to. Then February has what the rest of the months have, and that is the month of February. Then it's got the to-do list. These are stuck together. Acts of kindness, journaling on this side, and then on the right side it has notes, best of, and journaling photo, and then it has 2 extra pages on both sides for you to write whatever in. Of course, it has a pocket, and you can write on both sides. I already went over this, but you can write notes on both sides of that, so it's in good shape. Then the rest of the months through May are in here. The other 7 months I have outside the journal. No, it's not a journal, it's a planner. Rich and I talked about this, and he said, who would ever want to carry something this bulky if you had the whole year in? And I told him, first of all, I think you'd maybe carry 1 washi tape in there, maybe 1 post-it note pad, like part of that, and then a couple of pens. I don't think you're going to be carrying all of this, because you do have your pen in the back. I don't know how many months you'd want to carry either, but with that being said, I wanted to make sure that you have the tools that you need to make this work for your entire year, and I think you do. So here's what I want to do with this planner. I want to give it to someone who's a viewer. I think it should be someone who's a subscriber, because that would only be right, because you guys have really committed to my channel, and I think it should be a subscriber. And what I want you to do is I want you to write a comment that said, I'd like to have the planner, and then put your email address below that. And then on midnight of January 12th, we're going to choose a winner. It's going to be, we're going to do that random number and then count down from the top of our comments to that number, and that'll be the person that we choose. And we'll let them know via email. But again, all you're going to write on there is, I'd like to have the planner. One more important note is that I can only mail this inside the United States because it weighs a lot, and it weighs a lot. I really can't afford to mail it out of the country. I'm really sorry about that. That's the system. I hope that you enjoyed this series and that you'll give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.